When I think of Celtic places, the lands of Scotland, Ireland, and even the Isle of Man come to mind. To me, these places are quintessentially Celtic. However, maybe that's just me being uninformed, or even me only knowing things about the Celts that I've learned from television and movies depicting them. The fact of the matter is that Celtic tribes lived all across Europe, not just in the British Isles as we often think of them as, though maybe that's just me. With perhaps the most interesting of all of these being the sun-drenched nation of Portugal. Now, Portugal is a country I wouldn't really think of as being Celtic, yet the nation has a huge Celtic influence, with of course the name of the nation itself coming from a Celtic origin. Now, I always thought that the Celtic tribes originated from the British Isles and worked their way around Europe. However, this doesn't seem to be the case at all. We don't seem to know for sure the exact birthplace of the Celts, but one source seems to point to the area of modern Switzerland and Austria as being the place the Celts originated from. The Celt tribe who ended up in Portugal were the Galicia, who settled in the northwest of the Iberian Peninsula, which now consists of the most northern part of Portugal and the northwestern region of Spain, named Galicia. So I'm sure you can understand how that region of Spain ended up with that name. As we know, it's so often that places get named after the people who settled there, and we can see that clearly with the Spanish region of Galicia and the Celts who lived there, the Galaci. So why isn't Portugal named this too? Well, while we have the Galaci Celts to thank for the name of Portugal, the country isn't named after them directly. Lots of settlements in Portugal have names that have roots in the Celts who roamed the country, especially in the north of Portugal. One of these being the settlement of Calais. Calais was a prosperous port city at the mouth of the Douro River. The etymology of Calais isn't really known to us either. It's thought to possibly come from a Greek word which means beautiful, as that part of the world is very beautiful indeed. However, others feel the name may come from Celtic origins like Calais or Cala, which means things like port, harbour or inlet. However, just Calais didn't stay its name for too long, when the Romans took over the land around 200 BC during the Second Punic War, which also kind of led to the naming of mayonnaise. When the Romans took over the land, they added a name to this settlement. Due to it being a port, they added their Latin word for port to the front of its name, naming it Portus Calais, which means if the Calais part of this name does mean port, then this name could mean port. Nevertheless, it was this name of Portus Calais that caught on in the town, and not just in the town, but the name spread across the entire land. This name of Portus Calais became Portugal, which turned into Portugal, which finally became the name we know today, not just for this town, but for the entire country, Portugal. However, if you look at a modern map of Portugal, you won't find Calais or Portus Calais anywhere, and that's because the city of Portus Calais ended up chopping off the part of its name that started it all. With the Calais part of its name gone, the city of just Porto now stands in its place. Portugal was suggested by Jasmine Betancourt, and thanks to their suggestion, they will now be honoured as Name Explain's patron saint of Portugal. Do you have a good idea for somewhere that's name could be covered in a Name Explain video? If so, then please consider donating on Patreon. Just $1 a month helps keep the channel running and earns you a weekly chance to suggest somewhere to be turned into a video, and you too could be a Name Explain patron saint. Name Explain depends on awesome people like yourself to donate a small amount on a monthly basis to help keep the channel running. So thank you to all my awesome patrons who do this. Just at $2 a month helps out in a huge way, gets you exclusive rewards and puts your name here with all these awesome people. Thank you.